into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, God, it's so good to hear this song. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Helix After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. Back for Season 2, Episode 1, San Jose.
San Jose.
Do you know the way to San Jose?
Yes, I don't know what you want.
Do you know the way to San Jose?
Do you know the Muffin Man? Oh, wait, wrong movie.
Wrong movie, wrong show. Man, if he said it one more time, I was going to go bonkers. Hey, gang, it's me, Matt Lieberman. Joining me again all season long, Liz Rishmawy's here.
Hey, guys.
And Zach Wilson is here.
Hey.
Stephen Lemieux, unfortunately, is out of town due to a recent passing. He's at a funeral, so we wish him all the best. Please send him your love on Twitter, Stephen Lemieux on Twitter. That's with a PH, not a V.
And the last name that's hard to spell.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? Just look at us on Twitter. We have his name tagged. You can just find
Somewhere.
him there.
Yeah. So, gang, Helix back for Season 2. And, you know, we've been all probably watching as the promotional materials rolled out, watching it with intense curiosity, because with a show as unique as this, how do you do a second season? What is it going to be? And it seems like, you know, we've got this virus in another location, and I wasn't sure what to make of it, especially as the first few minutes unfolded, but then we get that epic twist of this dual timeline structure.
Oh my God.
And I'm just
So
sort of
awesome.
like, whoa.
Just the whole, and to see the animal as it's like decaying over years and years. And I'm just like, when it said the days, I'm like, how many years is this? And I was about to like take out a calculator. I'm like, oh, thank God they did it for me.
Yeah. 30 years. 30 years. I don't think this has ever been done before.
Well, it wouldn't have made sense beforehand in the first season. Now
Right.
it does.
But it's kind of like, it's almost like The Godfather 2. It's like The Godfather 2 of sci-fi shows, where we've got this 30-year difference between the two storylines. How is this sustainable?
All right.
your first reaction, that's the answer.
But that's how I felt when it happened.
Yeah.
Like when when it started decaying, I'm just yelling, "What the is going on?"
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, as soon as they open the door, I'm like, it has to be the same building. It looks like the same building. And I was looking at the time, I was like, but it looks newer.
It looks like a different shed.
It looks newer.
Yeah.
But it's the same shed. And then when it did it made so much sense. It was like, oh my God. You know, like, because part of me was like, how did they not hear her screaming when she was getting carried away? Mm-hmm. You know, so it just, everything just made sense at the same time, yet still blew my mind.
The only way. And this is getting a little bit into predictions, but let's face it, this is the Helix After Show.
This is the
That's
Helix
all
After
we're
Show. It's
gonna
all
do.
predictions.
Yeah. It's like Doctor Who. You can't.
Can't stop, won't stop.
The only way I see it as being sustainable is if basically everyone becomes a Silver Eyes.
Yeah.
Like any character that's going to remain like continually, like it would have to mean that like Sarah gets Silver Eyes, Peter gets Silver Eyes. I mean,
But
we saw
Sarah is a Silver Eye.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm just listing main characters, not Texas asshole.
Yeah, not Texas. Okay, first of all, no swearing. His name is Kyle Summer, but on this show, he shall be referred to as Dr. Dick Texas, because his main two characteristics, as we have found out from this first episode, is that he's from Texas and
Carries a gun to the bathroom.
Yeah, he's got a big old swaggerin' pecker.
All right, so here's
That's who he is. He's the guy who just like, I got a big dick. I'm going to throw it around over here. I'm going to throw it around over there.
Okay.
I'm going to make jokes about this. I'm going to ask questions about this. Doesn't matter. I'm from Texas. Have you seen my gun?
You know what it is? He reminds me in all the wrong ways, and this is not a slight against Sergio, but he reminds me of Sergio in all the bad ways. Like, I don't trust him because he seems too good to be true.
Oh, wait, you just said he's too good to be true.
Yeah, that's completely different. When
Yeah.
we met Sergio...
No, because part of why I don't like Dr. Dick Texas is that he's so, like, nice and friendly, and he's like, oh, I'm going to joke around while I'm sewing up your big wound in your foot.
and very kindly probing for information.
There's something about him I don't trust.
I don't know. I don't think his game is that deep. Like with Sergio, I felt pretty immediately something's up with this dude, but I liked him anyway. With this guy, I feel like he's very, what you see is what you get. He wants to bang Sarah, and he's, you know, just curious and wants to have like a fun career.
I don't trust him.
Really? Because of the gun, maybe?
I have nothing against him so far. As I have nothing. He's not as... The character doesn't seem as in-depth as Sergio's character.
Well, maybe that's the point. The point is to do kind of like what they did with Sergio, where we think one thing, but by the end of the season, we'll see him in a whole new light.
That's sort of where I see him going, and he's too nice right now. He can only get more...
Dickish?
Yes.
Only more dickish, Dr. Dick Texas, more dick. I don't know. But here, let's rewind this. Let's roll it all the way back. And we're going to take these two storylines separately. Let's actually, you know what? Let's talk about Julia.
We're going to talk about the boat scene real quick.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about Julia after. Let's talk about the boat.
Okay, because I was eating a sandwich as I was
sandwich?
I was eating a sandwich as they were going over the bodies, flipped him over, and he looked like he regurgitated something out of his mouth, and then I immediately stopped eating that sandwich, and I have had 3 bites of a sandwich all day to eat today. Thank you, Helix.
Have you forgotten what this show is?
I didn't know. I was used to the ziz. I was used to the black veins and the black ink stuff. It's like okay, it's like ink, not regurgitated mushroom.
Right. It's like as long as you're not eating a
herpes of the
hot
face
fudge sundae, then you're fine.
Yeah.
This was a show.
Or something with balsamic glaze.
Yeah, or whatever.
This was a show that had like a dozen vectors all zizzing into one cup and then feeding it to a unconscious Peter Farragut.
But also because Neil told us it was basically like chocolate and everything, it didn't seem so bad afterwards. This, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the props are made out of. Still not worthy enough to watch.
All I'm saying is thinking that you can be eating and not get grossed out by Helix. Big mistake.
I would just like to thank Helix in advance for the next 15 pounds I'm going to lose every time I try to eat and watch the show.
No, but that's the thing. I completely forgot just how intense the body horror was on this show. Because even, first of all, like just the weird cauliflower, like rainbow cauliflower coming out of the mouths, like... All of that was disgusting, but then even just like the ripping out of the teeth in that final sequence when they're pouring the goo down the throat, like
anybody who's ever had a dream about like missing your teeth or your teeth falling out, automatic, just that's what I thought about.
Yeah, and they've just got jars and jars of it,
and their fillings. No, it wasn't jars of teeth. They were just
it was jars of goo of greens.
Stop it! It wasn't green.
It was
You're
green.
He's colorblind.
Yellow.
It was like cream. There was no green in there.
No, it was pus colored.
Pus color, like the color of pus.
Stop
pus
it.
colors is.
Yeah, you know the classic 1974 Paul Newman movie for the color of pus.
Please keep the 3 bites of sandwich I had down, please.
So we have Sarah, we have Dr. Peter Farragut, who's a hero this season, even though we have to remember...
No, he's not a hero.
He's not a hero, because he was working for Ilaria the whole time.
Oh, yeah, God.
Well, here's the thing. We've missed a year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've missed a year. What we can piece together about the backstory of this year.
Yes.
I just want to see if we can go through that. Alan blew up, presumably, the Ilaria building in Paris. Mm-hmm. Peter Farragut has joined the CDC.
Again, he was a CDC...
No, he was never a member of the CDC. He was working for... Arctic Biosystems. Now he has joined the CDC as a field op.
Okay.
Right. Julia was working for the CDC and then wanted them to go to Arctic Biosystems.
They got called to Arctic Biosystems by the Ilaria and that all that nonsense. But in that year since, presumably Sarah has either lost the baby or had the baby and has left it somewhere.
Can I just say my personal theory on that she had the baby and left it somewhere, because it's one of the reasons why she's so pissed at Alan, not just because he blew up a building, but because I imagine she told him that she was pregnant and then he promptly ran off and blew up a building and then disappeared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's how you do it.
As excuses go to get it for not being around to raise a baby.
I'm not going to pay top child support. Paris
Wanted
flame.
terrorist.
Right. That's high on the list, I would say.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's about like, we don't know where Julia was in that time, except that she was working for Ilaria.
And that
Clearly
she was
wasn't in the... Well,
no, she was in the
building.
building. She was in the building when Alan was there.
Did anybody notice? Okay, that was the thing that weirded me out because
Her
in the
finger?
beginning, because in the beginning I was like, wait, that can't be Julia because she has a ring.
If you look at the coloration, that finger
okay.
is fake. The ring is to denote...
It's like holding it together.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I get it.
It's holding it to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
I like
still
that.
still missing a finger.
It's a 30 years in the future.
Exactly.
Fancy
It's a
finger.
magic 30-year-old
It's like
magic finger.
Luke Skywalker's hand.
Exactly. Except it's a finger
Guys.
for immortals. Yeah.
I
So
have a finger for the immortal.
So whatever Peter's up to, I don't know if he's still in league with Ilaria. I don't think that that's necessarily the case.
Yeah.
I think he was on board with the bombing, but I also think that Alan still has no idea that Peter was originally working with them.
Yeah. We don't know what Alan knows or what he's up to because we only saw a glimpse of him, have no idea why he's on this island, where the hell he's gone. So
I would say, based on like where we see Alan in this, where we see Peter in this, I'll bet you Peter sees something at Ilaria that he's just like, I can't do this anymore. Or like when he sees Julia's gone over to that side, he's like, you can't do this anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then he tells Peter he's been doing this whole time.
Tells Alan.
Yes, thank you. Peter tells Alan about everything he's been doing. Alan loses it, blows up the building.
Well, they were together. They were together in France, and they seemed like they were working in tandem. They were working as a team.
Peter looked like he was hiding something still at the time. I'm saying after that moment, after Paris in day 267 or whatever, Peter tells Alan. Alan loses his stuff.
His goddamn mind.
Yeah. Blows up the building and escapes.
Okay.
And then he runs to this island. However he got there.
Can I tell you guys what I was thinking until we found out that Julia's storyline is 30 years in the future? What I had thought was Alan was there helping generate a new virus in hopes of luring Silvers to the island.
okay.
Generating a new virus so that Ilaria, which is I assume still has the same plan of killing the majority of the human population, they would eventually want to find a new virus. With also, we never had it quite cleared up how all these Narvik outbreaks happened. And we know that Sarah and Peter have been going from place to place investigating Narvik outbreaks and shutting them down.
Yeah.
They've become
Yes.
experts at it.
So that seems to be, if that's true, a confirmation that the canister that Alan fell out of the helicopter with was the cure and not the virus.
Yeah.
Correct.
And the other thing is we know now that, well, we've already known this, but again, Sarah is basically immune to everything.
But not to this new virus, not to TMX7.
Or getting a hole in her foot.
How do you say that?
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about Julia.
Yeah,
You're
Julia.
talking about Sarah.
No, I'm talking about Sarah.
The names.
Hole in her foot.
Yeah.
What if that's
Holy
what
foot.
Alan's doing on the island, is trying to create a virus specifically to kill the immortals?
And one that he hopes would not kill humans and just immortals.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Interesting.
That's
dark and cool.
That's dark. I mean, bearded Alan Farragut. Like,
Yeah.
he's clearly dark.
Yeah, that's true.
As any man with
With
a
his like
beard
monastery like robe stuff.
He couldn't even say hi to Sarah. It's
Here's
like,
some water.
is. Well, when you're trying to build a virus that's going to specifically
When you're trying to
kill-
avoid paying child support for the last year.
you don't just burst in the room and say, "Here's baby daddy."
But if he's specifically trying to breed a virus that will kill all the Silvers, that includes Sarah.
Yeah.
That includes his baby mama.
Oh, I just had a fleeting vision of Sleep With Me Again, Alan. Oh my God. Sometimes this show, I don't know.
She was on drugs when she said that.
Sleep With Me Again,
Or
Alan.
no, she was having like a
fever.
It was a fever dream because of her tumor.
Right. Can I just...
I wish I could just blame all my bad decisions with relationships with men on a tumor. I had a tumor. I'm sorry.
You just come out whenever you do something wrong. It's a tumor.
It is a tumor. I'm sorry.
So there was a lot of wandering around on the island. Can we root through any clues that we feel like we've seen so far? First of all, before that, can we just talk about the artful setup of, we're dropping you here with no supplies and no help. See you in 2 weeks.
Some supplies.
In 2 weeks. It feels like it's exactly 13
They had to have some
change.
supplies. They didn't drop them off with no supplies, especially if they know that there's a possibility that all the food and water can be contaminated on the island. They didn't drop them off with no supplies for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but
I imagine those cases have freeze-dried
Thank
food
you.
or something.
Yeah.
But no, it's exactly like enough days for
You guys
for
didn't learn your
13
lessons, so
13 episodes.
Yeah. So they wander the island with Layla, the lone survivor
Got me
of
on
this
my knees,
attack.
Layla.
That's true. And Layla keeps having visions, and I couldn't decide whether or not that was PTSD from the horrible ordeal on the boat, or because she said she was having waking nightmares, and she said people started to change. I wonder if that was the beginnings of her changing.
did she change though? I mean,
Well, she attacked Julia.
No, that was only because
Sarah.
she only explained. She said that, I didn't know what was real. Every time I thought it was over, I heard another screaming. So, but she basically didn't get any sleep for 3 days. I mean, you have sleep deprivation. She probably didn't have water to drink. She's dehydrated. I mean, you're going to flip the hell out when you see something in a suit coming at you because you're not going to think it's real. And that's what she explained in the next scene.
Right.
I can buy that. I think that
I don't think she was infected.
I don't think she was seeing anything on the island either. I mean, the whoever it was in the brush that she saw looked just like a similar dress to our future man,
Caleb.
Caleb, thank you. So I have to imagine that person was actually
That
there.
woman was freaky. No, I think she was really there. I don't think she was having visions. I think she had a lot of PTSD from the crap she went through over the last 3 days, which is why I thought it was kind of ridiculous. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go with you guys and just return to the nightmare because I feel like there's something I should do. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, you're going to die. And then I think that she was just kind of zoning out because again, she's sleep deprived, guys. Like they were right there from the island. She probably didn't get any sleep. They probably just gave her some of that shot stuff to hydrate her again, and then she's back on this island, and now she's just kind of like zoning out. But she's noticing she's a lot more aware because she's on edge.
Yeah.
So I think she saw everything. She was right about there's something smiling at me. It was a skull. Mm-hmm. And what's up with all those skulls, bro?
Yeah,
That was a wonderfully creepy shot.
You
Yeah.
might say they're on Skull Island.
There's no plunger on this show.
Should be.
Save your puns for Sleepy Hollow, sir.
I'm not on that, so I need to make money somehow.
Oh yeah, we don't make money. We give the money.
Yeah, we lose
I
money.
want to take
lose
the
money.
money.
You have
I'm just
to
going to
enter
go to
the
Sleepy Hollow when you guys are like, if it's in the studio, I'm just going to take it and leave.
Okay. So yeah, they get surrounded by cultists. We've got this strange cult. They have
Slightly psychic, a little bit,
maybe
sort of.
I don't know,
Or just way too much
Wait,
intuition.
who was psychic?
they're not psychic. They're just very knowing. Anne was very knowing.
Yeah, like, oh, was that your friend? Yeah, she was our friend. You're lying.
Well, I think that's like the superiority thing of just like, I don't know. It's pretty obvious that they were lying.
Well, yeah, I mean, and especially if she had just been there a few days prior, they had probably seen her and her friends and knew that these CDC guys were nowhere with her, so they probably just met her.
Yeah.
So if anything, I guess that's where you can go off of that. But
I mean, they I think it's pretty safe to say that it clearly infected these people.
and especially just the way he's like, I have all respect for you and your beliefs and your culture. You're lying again. So
Yeah.
What if, random thought, what if
like
these
this entire
people on the
podcast isn't a random
island-
thought?
What if the people on the island are silvers?
Nah,
Nah.
too much.
I don't know. There's only 500 silvers.
Yeah, and
But
that's
where are they? Like,
they're in
What
Paris dealing with their wounds.
you know what? As I say it, I'm like, there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't let that make sense.
Yeah.
What doesn't know? Because I mean, the Silvers are like a society that's trying to like basically kind of take over the world in their own way to better, the world on their behalf. So why segregate yourself away and just have all these people? And notice that most of them, they were all female, weren't they?
Not all of them.
There was obviously there was
Look, it's classic cult setup. You have one charismatic male leader and a bunch of ladies.
And a bunch of ladies.
Yeah,
that
notice the girl when they were walking by. There was a younger girl that was like, hee, and then like the mother took her away.
Dick Texas flirted with her. 13-year-old, that scoundrel.
Oh God,
he just stuck his tongue out. But
what do you think he's implying there, Matt?
No, but what I want to say about that theory is that Silvers are the height of humanity. They are rich. They live in opulence, and I could totally see them separating themselves from the world, but not in
all of that entire cult. Maybe a couple of them.
Maybe Michael. Maybe just Michael as like a defector.
It's possible.
Well, here's a theory. If Alan is there, it could be that maybe he is in cahoots with somebody that has, like, why would he be there? Why this particular island? Why this particular cult? If there wasn't some sort of link to the Silvers. So there maybe is one Silver amongst them.
They're good questions.
They're taking, they said that they take in people who no longer basically fit in with the main human culture.
It's people who have left things behind because it's too painful, essentially.
Which completely fits for Alan.
Yeah, and I think that's the key here that we have to remember, is that Alan is the linchpin of what makes this island different from Arctic biosystems. We have a very similar setup. We have an enigmatic guy who's leading a bunch of people. There's a mysterious virus. He's not telling the CDC anything. Hugger. He's a hugger. Lots of stuff. But the weird dark horse that we have is Alan. Why is he there? Is he pulling the strings? Is he there to subvert it, or is he there to support it? We don't know. We didn't see him feeding the goo to that woman at the very end. Why are they experimenting on their own people? Why are so many people dead? These are all
where did all those damn skulls come from? Because I even feel like the skulls would make more sense if it was in the scene from 30 years after the fact.
Right.
But those skulls are there when there's people on that island.
Fully decayed.
No, it doesn't make any sense. It would be years that shady stuff has been going down for the bones to have been into that.
And that's entirely possible. This could have been going on for years.
That's why I jumped to Silvers, because the bones clearly have been there for so long. It's not like we saw like a couple fresh heads and some more decayed. Mm-hmm. We saw like just a field of skulls, which granted could have been like dissolved in acid. But if Michael
dissolved in butt, what?
Acid. Sorry, let me get this line. If Michael has been on the island for who knows how long, he could be just rotating people in and out. Like, there wouldn't necessarily be enough people to connect that he has been there for 300 years. And so it makes sense that he's carrying out his own scientific experiments as one out of the 500.
Also, keep in mind that when Peter picked up the skull, he said, "Oh, it looks female." And notice that when they were experimenting on somebody afterwards, and a majority of the people in this cult are female. I mean, it's not like they looked at every single skull to see which ones were male and female, but could be a majority of them are, and that's where that comes from. So
that's interesting.
Because what would be the reasoning that he would pick that up and say, "Oh, it's female"? Like, I mean, it could just be nothing. But I'm just saying, in this show, nothing said has ever been something that just is said for nothing. So.
I would also like to point out, and I think this is kind of a linchpin thing when we're talking about Michael and whether or not he's a Silver. The way he's described by Anne is he's just a man. He's just a man like any one of us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you're all women.
But that could also be her way of saying, like, he is remarkable, but he's not above us, even though he is.
Yeah.
Like
cults.
I mean, she says, like, you don't talk to Michael. Michael talks to you.
It's like right in my ear with your voice is being creepy.
I'm sorry.
That feels so dirty.
Yeah, that's why
dirty.
I'm saying it's
no, not how you say it. The line.
Oh,
like the concept of somebody who you don't talk to, he talks to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's creepy. It feels dirty. Like it's like a minorly sexual thing.
I would say it's a majorly sexual thing.
Yeah.
Well, especially if he's like only one of the main guys. I mean, again, cult. But anyway. Kind of want to point out too about why Layla had like how the hell did she run that far off and fast without anybody noticing while they were examining the skulls? For her to get that far, I mean, they weren't that far behind, and then for somebody to have already killed her the way they did, because they found blood along the way to that shack.
Yeah.
You know, so there was already some stuff done to her. I mean, I'm kind of confused on the timeline of that. I mean, they went right after her as soon as they heard screaming.
I don't know. She's fleet of foot. And also, that's on Sarah because she was right there.
Yeah,
Well,
right
you don't hear, they're on dry leaves. You don't hear her steps walking away.
Yeah.
Okay. Here,
Come on,
really
Sarah
quickly,
Jordan.
before we completely get carried away and we don't even do it, I need to mention iTunes.
Okay.
Folks, if you're new to this show, welcome. So happy to have you. If
We love you.
Yes, if you're old fogies, you're golden oldies, welcome back.
We love you more.
Yes. The best way to support AfterBuzz TV and this show is to go to iTunes and rate and review the shows that you listen to or that you watch on YouTube. It is quick, it is easy, and it takes doesn't cost you a dime. It takes only a second. You go to iTunes, you rate and review the show. Maybe you write something nice, maybe you write something funny. Maybe you just write good with 5 stars. But what you're doing by doing so is you're supporting a network that provides over 80 hours of after show content a week in video and audio form. It is the widest array of television after show content anywhere on the web. We are very, very proud of that fact, and we want to continue to do so. The way that we are supported by sponsors. Those sponsors choose our network because they see that our shows are well reviewed, that they're popular, and that they are the best possible podcast for any TV show in and under the sun. So your reviews help keep our lights on and our doors open. Please support this channel. Thank you.
Yay.
Okay. So, meanwhile, 30 years in the future, let's just track Julia from the moment she gets to the island. She's talking about how she needs to find a cure for this virus into this little recorder thing. She gets hijacked by a guy out of the road warrior with a stick who says, "Do you know the way to San Jose?"
Wasn't that her ringtone when the cell phone thing came out? Like, wasn't that not a ringtone or something before she picked it up and then started recording? Or is that just the way they decided to cut off the music? Because I was confused.
That was the way they cut off the music.
Yeah, I think it was non-diegetic sound.
Yeah.
Which means, like, it was just in the show.
It was just how they
wasn't
wanted to
like she
open.
was
Okay,
playing
because it confused me for 2 seconds. I was like, was that her cell phone ring?
No.
I'll grant you that. I was a little bit
Yeah,
confused
just for
too.
like 2 seconds.
As much as I love this show's use of that song, I felt like there was too much San Jose because it's called San Jose. We've got the song, which is great. And then this dude says over and over and over and over again, "Do you know the way to San Jose? Do you know the way to San Jose?"
It must be
a code
word for someone.
Yeah. Someone that he's waiting for.
Yeah, but whoever it could be. What I like about that, though, is because this is a song that was played in episode 1 of season 1, when we learn more about the phrase and everything, it might bring a new level of the picture to that premiere episode.
Yeah, and also I think it meant is that whoever set this code is someone we know who's one of our main characters, and I think it's Alan, and who I assume is his son,
it's Javier.
Caleb. I think Caleb is his son.
I assume that you just took my thing. I told you.
No. You said, well, you can say what your prediction is. I don't know necessarily where this child came from. I think that this could be a child sired on the island.
I told you.
Well, in any case, I just wanted her to say, "I've been away so long." Just like say the next line of the song. Yeah.
I didn't feel like...
Do you know the way to San Jose?
Even if it was the wrong
long.
response, it's like, "Do you know the way to San Jose? I've been alone so..." And he's like, "No!" Smack.
Yeah.
I just would be like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, just be like, I would forget the words. By the way, okay, I'm sorry. Tweezer to take out of contact? Really?
Maybe a little dramatic.
A little dramatic. I mean, no, you can't. Ow.
I mean, he could like just move it aside with his finger.
Make sure
Even
it's
if he
full.
can't take it out.
Yeah. But do you think he knew who she was, or he just assumed...
Well, he had an idea that she was a Silver Eye, at least, like maybe not knowing. Well, she did, first of all, before he even started that, said, "My name is Julia. I'm not going to hurt you." Mm-hmm. So, she, if he knew who Julia was or knew the name.
But Julia's common name. He doesn't know it's Julia Walker.
Okay, yes, but at the same time, to take the tweezers and try to see, you could be wrong. You could just be peeling away someone's iris, but I mean, to have that hunch that she's a Silver Eye.
Now, do we think that in the future, Silver Eyes are common knowledge, or he knows about the Silver Eyes because he lives on this island?
Common knowledge.
Common
I
knowledge.
would
Should
say
be.
they are absolutely common. I mean, I'm building off of my theory from earlier that Alan is trying to engineer some virus to kill the Silvers. And I think that if he's doing that and he releases it, part of that process is going to the media and like outing them. Maybe like holding
I
someone
mean, the media
not-
already knows about the virus and everything, so it's only within time that, I mean, especially if these people hold such a high place in society for certain things as far as like science or whatever the heck they were doing in their headquarters goes. I mean, after so many years and with media, I mean, like from 500 years ago or something, they don't have TV and media and all this stuff. But now they do. So it's going to be a little harder for someone who's in that kind of thing to be like, okay, 10 years, 20 years, you haven't had any surgery, you're not aging. You know, so eventually I think it's going to be something that's going to be common knowledge as far as with all these viruses and everything going out in the world. Because we don't know what the world is like outside the island 30 years from now.
That's true, but at the same time, they've survived in secret for so long, even though they've been a part of society. People just haven't noticed.
You have to imagine it gets harder though once you enter the digital age.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, that's true. Valid. Another thing to remember is that the TMX7 outbreak is relatively recent in Julia's timeline. It has only happened, maybe 29 years from now.
Because whatever this virus is, like for all we know, we can only assume that the virus they're investigating in the present day is what she knows as TMX7.
But I don't think it gets released this season. I think that after it gets made, they try to stop it. They try to stop it from existing, but or stop it from being released, but it remains in someone's hands and gets loose at some point.
Yeah. I have a theory, but I think it's something to go into predictions. So I'm just going to wait till we get to that part.
Okay.
I mean, okay, so we're at day 10,951.
Yes, which
You
is
wrote
great.
that down.
I was really
Yeah, of course I wrote it down.
Can I just say I was really bummed when it started with day 1 again.
Yeah.
I wanted
I kind of wanted it to just keep
I want a running clock.
the original day 1
Yeah.
as day 1.
Right.
But it would get too confusing after a while, especially because now we're on a new season, but it's also because now they're kind of investigating. It's new things. The other thing before was day since the thing that happened up in Antarctica.
That's fair. It's,
Down in Antarctica.
The CDC measures it as day since original outbreak.
Right. Yeah.
That's what day 1
So
is.
this is like something kind of new. So it would obviously be
a
specified
new
as a
day
different
1.
thing.
So that would imply if that's our day 1 for this season, that day 10,951 is day 10,951 of this particular
that's what Julia said.
This particular virus's outbreak.
Yeah, well, that's what Julia said too. She said 30 years ago something happened on this island that started something that is now spreading across the world and it's affecting everybody, even us. She said, check out my shoulder. I'm dying. So we're trying to figure out what's going on. And then he's like, there's no sick people here. She's like, yeah, well, there were. You know, so obviously, yeah, it all makes sense. She corresponds with that, you know, that, yeah, this is something that it's 30 years now. So this is obviously taking a lot longer than the whole Ziz thing. So,
Yeah.
but.
True that. Do we think anyone else is on the island with Caleb?
Oh, God, there has to be at least a couple people lurking around. It'd be boring if it was just the two of them on that island by themselves. I mean, there would be no point. It'd be just kind of boring to keep flashing that forward to the 30 years later if it was just the two of them.
Unless they
More prediction
don't
stuff, I'm not gonna say anything.
on the island.
Yeah, but-
like what's to prevent them from going off into crazy future 30 years later world?
Yeah, but then again, look at the basis of the show. It hasn't been with anything. They've always been trapped on something. So it only makes sense that this whole thing is going to just take place on the island.
But I mean, you're right. The majority of the show will remain on the island. I mean, the producers have said as much in like publicity and stuff. But they're coming into it on a new season, a higher budget. I imagine that they can, for a minor plot line, spend some time away from it,
Especially
and, like, go back and forth.
Especially if it's this 30 years later timeline, because the present day timeline, what is moving our narrative forward the most, is going to definitely be entirely on the island. here's another thing that could happen is we could be bouncing around through time. It doesn't have to be necessarily all 30 years later. It could be further in time. It could be
Back
somewhere in the
time.
middle. Like, there's a great level of ambition on display here in terms of how this story is being told.
We could very well not touch day 10,951 until the finale. We could be like jumping into 2000 and 5000 and 6000.
There's too much math going on right now.
Yeah, but it's definitely very interesting. There are a lot of great narrative possibilities offered up by this ambitious structure. And I'm very, very curious about what they're going to do this season.
It takes a massive chutzpah to jump 10,900 days into the future.
Does that mean
on
balls?
your show.
What does that mean?
Chutzpah is balls, effectively. Yeah, but it's gender neutral.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's time for predictions.
I think it is too.
Are we differentiating it?
But chutzpah and balls?
No.
I just need to-
predictions and the rest of the show.
Yeah, well, it's just specifically what's coming in the future.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. But okay. So I already said before that I think Caleb is Alan and Sarah's kid. Okay. Although he does,
like it. I
he
like
does look
that.
a little older than 30 something, but still.
But if he's Sarah's child...
And all the crap that
would
he's gone
mean-
through.
If he's Sarah's child, that would mean that he's more...
Half.
He's potentially silver. Julia wasn't when she was born.
She was half silver.
She was half silver, but she wasn't silverized until she got injected by Ataki.
Right.
So...
Injected by Ataki.
But I wonder if it could carry in the matriarch line, so he could be silver.
Other prediction. I don't think Alan's dead 30 years from now. I think that
Stupid Vine.
I think it's just something that could be made. It could be something where he wants people to think he's dead at that point for whatever the hell is going on 30 years later. He's like, maybe he is the key to finding out the cure for everything if he is the person who started it to kill off the Silver Eyes. And I don't think he's dead. I think it would be too easy, and it would just kind of be a little boring, so to speak, if most of the main characters were just not around 30 years later. But he's the main character, so to speak, aside from Julia.
No, I think he is dead 30 years because he's what, 50, 45?
No.
I don't know when. Well, I don't know when we are exact. We're a year later. Okay.
Right. He's in his mid to late 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on when we have caught up with him.
I'd say he's 45.
Yeah. Okay. So he's around 45.
Okay, 75.
30 years. He's 75 under whatever else is going on the island. I think it's safe to say that he's probably dead, but I don't think we're going to live in the 30 years for very long. I think we're going to mainly live in the present day and like some in between.
I'd like you to stop raining you give me your chutzpah. I said that wrong. I'm sorry. I just felt left out.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
that's weird.
Anyway, shut up.
Anyway.
Schmear.
I don't think I think he could be dead in the future. The question is more, when did he die and how?
Yeah.
Because of that stupid vine on the gravestone.
Yeah.
What I love about this structure is that we're going to be able to reveal plot about both plot lines from the other one. So we're going to learn a lot about what's going to happen in our present day plot line from the future, and we'll learn more about the future from what's going on in the past. Personally, I'd like to think that they're probably going to stay in the 30-year plot line. They have to tie Julia in somehow. Maybe the only other explanation I can think of is that every episode we get some kind of flash forward back.
We also know the other characters are going to show up. Like, we know Mark Gonamay's in it. We know we're going to see him. Yay, Mark. But just there's a lot of characters that we know we still have to see, so we have to figure out. The question is, more than likely they're going to show up in the 30 years prior on day one, so to speak. But it's going to be really awesome to see a bunch of like old people makeup on them.
But that's the thing. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense how we're going to see these people again. I don't know how it's going to work out.
I want Zombie Dan.
Because I understand. Oh,
He's still.
Megan
still has a part.
Yeah,
of a
he's
character
still
that's
to Luke.
alive.
He's still to Luke. But
Wait,
here's
which one died? Didn't
Dan.
somebody die? Dan. That was Dan.
Dan died.
Oh, wait,
Luke
no.
is still alive.
Wait, no. To Luke was Dan,
Yeah, and then he died.
but his brother was something else.
Oh.
we can't. I
Negwin.
can't remember. No,
that's his actual
real
name.
We can't remember the brother's name.
Somebody died, and I want him to come back as a zombie. The end. Also, other prediction.
Yeah.
I would like to just say that whatever they're doing down there in the basement, just I mean, it doesn't make sense because obviously they would have known if that happened when the people went back on the ship before they started showing signs of something being wrong. But I think whatever it is that they're shoving in their mouth, that just seems to be something where if there's something like a cauliflower growth thing growing out, it just seems like it's something in link to whatever that virus is.
Right.
Like maybe they stumbled, if they did eat something or swim in something, maybe they swam in something where the dead body of one of those chicks they shoved the freaking pus stuff into.
I think we can just say safely it's not the food or drink, it's just the pus stuff.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is it wouldn't make sense. The people that were on the boat that got infected,
Right.
they didn't be pulled down into a basement and have their teeth yanked and stuff like that.
We don't know that.
Well, no, because they just went on the boat and everybody was fine. And then she said 3 days later is when stuff started to go down.
Unless
So you would have
it's that they did stumble upon something they weren't supposed to stumble upon and then left before they could stop them, and now they're on a boat.
Layla could have been lying about some of the details.
And that's why she's dead and her eyes
I just
are
want to
pulled
finish
out.
my point before we wrap up, which is that I understand why Alan is on the island during present day. It doesn't make sense for Sergio or for whichever brother is still alive to be on the island.
To Luke was the brother.
Yeah, to Luke.
I just looked it up.
Yes, it doesn't make sense for either of them to be on the island now, and for them to be in the future, either they'd have to be Silvers or they'd be in old age makeup, which like I'm very curious to see how they would make that work.
Somehow they became Silvers in the process of the 30 years. You don't know.
Well, I said that. That's one of the options.
What if Hatake,
Luke
and Sergio are like some crazy commando team who like parachute onto the island to like mess stuff up?
I mean, I won't say that I'm not crazy about that idea because that sounds awesome.
No, Mark's eyes are too pretty for them to have it fake silver.
No, we're just
they
saying he
don't
doesn't have to be silver.
Oh, good.
They
Okay.
parachute onto the island
right.
and just start shooting people.
Okay, yeah.
That's not what they'll do.
I know, but
all right.
It would be awesome.
We got to wrap up. So, folks, thank you so much for watching the show. We do have a Helix press kit that was given to us by the folks at Sci-Fi PR, and we are giving it away to one lucky listener. How do you win? You may be asking. Well, if you watched or listened to the show last year, you know that we did some Helix song parodies, and we would like to do more this year.
And we're working on some more.
Yes, but we are looking for your parodies. So send us on Twitter. You have to be following all four of us. That's and AfterBuzz TV. So that's me, Liz, Zach, Steven, and AfterBuzz TV. And send us via Twitter lyrics to a Helix parody song that you've written. And we're going to choose one winner. We're going to sing their song on the show, and they will get a Helix press kit, which is really, really neat. It looks awesome.
We'll show it off.
We'll show it off next week. Yeah. So thank you so much for listening. Liz Rishmawy, where can the people find you?
Hey guys, you can find me, Liz Rishmawy, on Twitter and Instagram at Lizzie Mawy. That's LIZZYMAWY. Continue checking me out here on Helix, and I'll update you further on those other places when I know other stuff that's going on.
Okay, Zach Wilson.
Thank you guys so much for geeking out with us today. You can follow me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, ThatZachWilson. Bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, Agent Carter, Grimm, a bunch of others. Thanks, guys.
Okay, and you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You can also find all my videos for my personal channel, youtube.com/Matthew D. Lieberman, SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd, and I'm here doing Banshee and Better Call Saul in February. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
You guys, we better deuces
From
you later.
executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Ziz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.